he brought me six. I was like, man, I don't care about the $6, but it was like,
Welcome, everybody, to Bird's Nest Stadium here in Georgetown, Kentucky, for tonight's homecoming football game for the Great Crossing Warhawks as they come in with a record of 3-0. They'll go up against the East Jessamine Jaguars with a record of 0-3. That's deceiving. We'll talk about that, but nothing deceiving about the way the Warhawks have gone about the start of their season, matching last year's midseason 3-game winning streak, but right from the top. As they started out with a 50-2 rout of Western Hills, they came back a week later here again at home, 22-7, come from behind win where they scored on the final play of the half and dominated from there against North Oldham, and then a hard-fought win on the road, 19-13 in Lexington against Henry Clay last week. I'm Cal Oakes here with Scotty Sutton, and Scotty, your thoughts on the Warhawks? They've gotten off to the start we anticipated. It seems like the competition gets slowly better, incrementally better every week. Is this going to be a tough one despite the records?
well, I think it's going to be. It's they've gotten to the point to where they are winning games, but they're doing it in a fashion that championship teams have to do.
We've got the national anthem coming here, a lot of pageantry here for the homecoming senior night, and we'll be back with you shortly. Willie the Warhawk leading the parade of flags onto the field for the national anthem played by the Great Crossing Band. We are back with you. Got football coming up at the bottom of the hour. A couple of big games here on the NFHS network tonight. Thankful that you're watching us, but there's also another game involving the Scott County Cardinals as they take on Bryan Station in Lexington. A couple of 1-1 teams that are probably better than that in terms of their aspirations for the season long term, and that's a pivotal game for both coming off a bye. Looking at the schedule here for Great Crossing, they play East Jessamine tonight. They go to Bourbon County next Friday. Then they have a bye week. There's a good chance, Scotty, they could be 5-0 when they play the Battle of the Birds here on October 1st against Scott County, and wouldn't that fire that game up a little bit?
Just a little. We talked about that a few people may show up for that game, but it would really be exciting for for Georgetown. Two schools. We talked earlier about how Great Crossing had battled to get to this point, and then if they were able to get to the point of being 5-0 against their crosstown rival, I think it'd be a lot of fun.
And certainly a lot of people weren't able to be here in the flesh last year. They watched it in other ways, hopefully joined us here, and there were some watch parties elsewhere, but certainly looking forward to having a real crowd in here for that game again this year in a couple of weeks, 3 weeks to be in fact, as the Warhawks take the field. This is their third home game in 4 weeks. That's a favorable schedule. It's always good when you can get into that rhythm, and even their road trip was not a long one.
Yeah, that's right. And, we were talking right before the national anthem about, being 3-0. The first game they win in blowout fashion. The second game, it's close for a while, but as you said, they dominate the second half, go on to win handily. And then anytime you go on the road and play a Lexington team, Henry Clay has a proud tradition. Uh, so when you get a win like that, it just goes to show now that they've been able to win in different types of atmosphere. And, here's another one where they know they want to take care of business. So we'll see what they do tonight, but that's what good teams do. You take care of business every Friday.
We were talking off the air about some of the adversity that Great Crossing's gone through despite that 3-0 start. If you were with us for week 1 and week 2, things will look different in the backfield tonight. They have been without a couple of their key running backs from that opening season victory. They lost both Jarius Patterson and Makai Wilson to knee injuries over the first couple of weeks. So last week they had the by committee. Actually, it was a kind of a two-headed effort with Caden Allen and Tyrus Cobbins. They carried the ball. They combined for 36 carries for about 150 yards in that one, and really did what you want your running backs to do, which is they weren't cranking out 15, 20, 30-yard gains, but they were it was 3 yards in a cloud of dust, so to speak. They were moving the chains. They were keeping the defense honest, and that allowed Gabe Nichols to strike through the air. And I think when you've got the receivers that Gabe Nichols has, Scotty, that's what we're going to see again tonight.
Yeah, and, as far as the running backs go, Allen and company, you want your team to believe in you as well. You've had a couple of starters go down, and now they've got to step up, and they've got to get the job done so the whole team knows, hey, we're going to be okay. We're going to be able to continue to win regardless of who's back there. We talked on the opening day about how they've got such a seasoned offensive line. But again, if you can run the ball, it's going to open up that play action pass. We certainly saw that Saturday with Kentucky and that new offense. And I've been overly impressed with Nichols, the way he throws the ball downfield. So hopefully they can continue that.
He's got some weapons he can spread it around to. There's really no favorite receiver. You think of Caleb Perry as automatically the guy, but he attracts so much attention that they haven't thrown a lot of balls his way. Now, he went up and got one last week at Henry Clay that if you didn't see it on the news or you didn't see the photo that I circulated on social media, you've got to check it out because it was a upper Division I level catch from a guy who's going to play linebacker in college, albeit. But he's also got Peyton Harris. He's got Jacob Coulter, who was his leading receiver last year. Zachary Kelly had a nice touchdown catch, and, went up and got it, kind of jump ball situation in the back of the end zone a week ago. So he's got some weapons there.
Yeah, he definitely does. And, I think back to the opening weekend against Western Hills when they took the ball. I think they had a 7 or 8 play drive and scored. And, Perry touched the ball one time. So we know they have the weapons, the ability to score, and hopefully they can continue that tonight.
We've talked about the defensive side. They've only allowed 2 touchdowns, 2 field goals, and a safety in 3 games. I think the longest touchdown drive last week was the longer of the 2. That was about a 70-yard drive. The first week was on game 2. It was a short field, 26-yard drive by North Oldham. So this is a team that has given up 100 total yards rushing in 3 games, and most of that was from Henry Clay last week. They are number 1 or 2 statewide in many team categories. Orion Fisher is leading the state in sacks with 4.5, 9.5 tackles for loss. He has a half dozen Division I offers and counting. With him coming off the edge and Will Frazier coming off the other edge, that defense has been in the backfield early and often.
Well, and that's what I was going to say is when you're stopping the team from running and they have to pass the football and you've got guys like Fisher coming off the edge and then Perry playing that deep safety spot, man, they can wreak havoc and they're going to start getting a lot of turnovers.
The Jaguars will receive. This is a revenge game of sorts for Great Crossing. Their opening inaugural season of 2019, they went to Nicholasville and got beat fairly handily, 43-7. Obviously, 2 very different teams. I think that in terms of experience, it's certainly the script has been flipped. As Great Crossing, as you mentioned, those 2- and 3-year starters, especially on the line, have made a big difference in Great Crossing's ability on both sides.
No question. It just makes a difference in everything that you do. I'm sitting there thinking about, the kickoff team. Well, now those can be sophomores, because those juniors and seniors are playing the offense and defense, and you get them some experience, and they're excited to be out there, and they're going to sprint down the field, hopefully make a big tackle.
They'll kick it deep, which we haven't seen a lot this year, taken at the 15 by the Jags. Heads to this sideline, not a lot of room, is coming up to make the tackle quickly for Great Crossing, number 36, Elijah Fryman. Fryman had a big special teams play a week ago when he recovered a muff at Henry Clay that led to the first touchdown of the game. So he's a guy that can make plays in the kicking game.
That was a perfect kickoff. It was just close enough to the sideline where you can't let it go because you might bounce around, and yet they had him surrounded. So good coverage by Great Crossing.
Gave his guys the opportunity to get down there. East Jessamine will have 1st and 10 at its own 23. The quarterback is a freshman, Justin Heisel, 5'10 freshman. He's completed just under 50% of his passes, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception on the season, and he will throw on first down, but he will get sacked. And guess who? Frazier and Fisher. We talked about him in the pregame. Frazier's got to be careful. He kind of got right in the quarterback's face there. You don't want to get a taunting penalty, but they let it go. 9-yard loss, 2nd and 19, and right off the bat on senior night, Frazier makes a big play.
Yeah, they were just running a go route and looked like they were going to go deep, but they had great coverage, man-to-man, and so he decided not to go. I thought he would go ahead and cut it loose, but held on to it for just a second. The pressure gets to him. This pass rush for Great Crossing, each week just gets better and better.
They've put the other team in some bad down and distance situations. Here's another one, 2nd and 19 from their own 14. They'll hand it off this time. Not a lot of room. Churning up the middle is number 39, Logan Williams. He's a 6', 200-pound senior, but he's stacked up right around the 17, so it'll be 3rd and long.
Yeah, they did a nice job right there of stringing that out, allowing the linebackers to fill the hole and make the play.
So not great field position, and it has only gotten worse for East Jess, as the sack by Frazier and Fisher has put them in a bind from their own 17. 3rd down and 16. They line up in the spread, as so many teams do. Williams, the lone setback. Heisel in the gun.
Now you got
he will look to throw. He's got people coming at him in all directions. He'll get rid of it. It'll be complete, but not nearly enough. Taken out by Jarvey Ray is the receiver, number 9, Chance Jackson. Jackson's been one of the favorite targets of Heisel. He gets the catch there, the first completed pass of the game for the Jaguars. But it will be 4th and 5, and it's a 3 and out for the Warhawk defense to start.
And I tell you, Heisel did a nice job right there, because you saw again, we saw that, we've seen it a couple times, where Perry comes up to the line, he's on the slot receiver, but then he blitzes in. And I think, East Jessamine knew that was coming. He got rid of it quick on a crossing route, but a nice job to stop him short.
East Jess will punt away. Not a lot of pressure. It will take a Jaguar bounce inside the 30, inside the 25, and down to the 20-yard line. So,
and Bird's kicking himself on that.
Yeah,
he
would
let
let
it
go.
Come up. Yeah, it cost him about 20 yards, but you're just not sure. I don't want to come up there and drop it, but on this turf, you're normally going to get a roll like that.
We've seen that happen a couple of times. In fact, in the season opening game, it led to the safety in that game. It was the only thing that prevented the shutout that night. At any rate, it will be the equivalent of a touchback, 1st and 10 at the 20. And the Jaguars will have 80 yards in front of them with 9:36 to play here in the opening quarter. It is Gabe Nichols lined up at QB. Or will it be Caleb Perry? Perry's the lone setback right now. They've got him lined up in a place that we haven't seen a lot of. They will pitch it to him. Perry goes the other way. And he's taken out of bounds at the 25.
Just a simple pitch out wide. You want your guy, giving it to your best athlete. Let's see if we can hit the corner. East Jessamine did a pretty nice job there. He got a 6-yard gain, but able to catch up with him and get him out of bounds.
They actually gave him a pretty good spot at the 27, so it'll be 2nd and 3, so a good gain on first down. And that's what's been lacking, especially at the start of games these past couple of weeks, is getting that running game going. There have been a lot of 3 and outs in the first half of both those games, so that's an encouraging sign for the Warhawks here. Nichols in the shotgun. Now he's got the traditional back there, Cobbins. Cobbins will break one tackle. He will be stopped shy of the marker at the 29. It will be third and a long yard.
Defensive line for East Jessamine did a nice job right there, penetrating, getting in. He broke a couple tackles, but he still wasn't going to be able to go anywhere. That was a great job by the Jags.
Interesting call here is they've struggled to pick up those short yardage situations in conventional ways on the ground. But they've got weapons. Nichols can run it himself. Of course, you've got Perry. Cobbins is back there right now. Now he'll line up behind Nichols. Nichols will hand it off. Cobbins has the first down and more, just shy of the 35. They'll mark him right at the 35. And the chains will move, so first down Warhawks with 8:30 to play in the first quarter.
Yeah, right over that center guard on the right side, had a nice hole. Cut it back, gets 4 or 5 yards for the first down. That you can credit that to the offensive line for great crossings there.
They've really been successful running behind that junior center, Kevin O'Doherty.
Yeah.
He's been a starter since day one, his freshman year. And there it is again. Good space for Cobbins. This time he hurdles a would-be tackler at the marker and gains another first down for the Warhawks to the 47.
And that's the exact same play. And now they're starting to push. And you know, Cal, what that's going to set up, which is that play action. And we know Nichols can throw it deep. So if they want it, it's going to be there.
If they can get forward motion going in that running game, it's going to make them super dangerous. Nichols will throw. He's got the open man. It is Perry.
Yeah.
No, it's Wiley.
Yeah.
It's the 8 and 9 that are tough to discern down there. It's a good gain of 8. Call it 9 to the East Jessamine 44.
And Wiley did a nice job. He just goes out, sets in a seam. East Jessamine playing his zone right now, and that's what you got to do. That was Tom Brady-esque. Just get it right there and pick you up some yardage.
They do have some weapons. We didn't even mention Wiley among those receivers as Cobbins churning, leans past the plane of where the first down line would be if we had such a thing on this broadcast, and that should be another great crossing first down at the 42. So things moving in the right direction here as they are in East Jessamine territory with 6:40 to play in the first quarter. No score.
That was a tough run right there. East Jessamine loaded the box, but he still was able to push forward and get a couple of yards.
Warhawks have moved it from their own 20, mostly on the ground. They did have that completion to Wiley. He will throw again. Same play to Wiley. He'll pick up another first down to the 30. How about another one just like the other one?
Yeah, and I think that's something that probably the Great Crossing staff noticed on film because they're just setting down right where you need, it's just let me go run 8 yards. I'll turn, set down, and Nichols is just laying it right on him, fall forward, and you get 9, 10, 11 yards.
Little quick slant reminds me of another guy that wears number 9, Jake Johnson at Georgetown College. You see him make that same kind of catch, that little slant that moves the chains consistently. Now they'll hand it to Cobbins the other way. He finds a little bit of room off the left end, but he is swarmed there after a gain of a couple. Nice pursuit by Jacob Crofts.
Yeah, it sure was. It came up nicely right there.
They're at the 28, 2nd and 8. Good drive here that's churned out about 4 minutes.
Crofts got for a safety listed at 6'4", 170.
It's quite a bit of athleticism. He lines up at tight end on the offensive side of the ball. He's a senior. You can do a lot with 6'4" in just about any sport.
Absolutely.
There's Caden Allen, and we talked about his leg strength, and there we see it again. Knocking people over inside the 10, 1st and goal for the Warhawks.
Terrific job right there of reading the hole. Tried to get it up there in between the tackle guard area, had to bounce it out, hit the seam. Excellent run.
They'll mark it right at the 10, 1st and goal. Scott County has scored first at Bryan Station. Looks like a typical Scott County drive with 7:30 remaining in the first quarter there. They have broken on top. Allen again following his blockers up the middle.
Another nice cutback right there.
He's got good vision for a guy that really we think of as a defensive stalwart, but he has emerged out of necessity in this running game. He gains 4 there, 2nd and goal from the 6.
This is where you got to feel like East Jessamine's going to load this box and say, okay, maybe Great Crossing's looking at a fade pattern right here to Perry. Let him use his athletic ability and go get it.
We talked about those guys that can go up and get the jump ball in the end zone, and Nichols will throw one here. He'll throw it to the back right corner. It's Kelly. Oh, look at that one-handed attempt. Did he get it? Oh, yes, my goodness. Touchdown, Great Crossing. He did it again. Nichols throws a dime where only his man can reach up with one hand and grab it. And I tell you, boy, these receivers from Great Crossing, here's another highlight film reception there from Zachary Kelly.
And that was the fade that I was looking for. I thought they might go to Perry, but they go to the other side with Kelly. And what a catch. I mean, was unbelievable.
That's just big-time stuff. And they don't have to go to Perry anymore all the time. That's the beauty of it. Is he's got weapons all over the place. We saw Wiley twice on that drive, and we see Kelly in a big way here. The kick is good. 7-0 with 3:52 remaining in the first quarter. That was an impressive drive, Scotty.
It really was. And, you know, there was nothing easy about it. East Jessamine played great sound defense, but Great Crossing running the ball, you know, hitting short passes, 8-9 yards, and then they get it all the way down. And when East Jessamine loaded the box, let's go with the fade. And what a one-handed catch. For those of you that are just listening, I can't tell you. That was with his left hand.
I can't wait to watch it again.
That was unbelievable. And you could see the official. He's trying to figure out, is he in bounds? Then did he hang on to the ball? Then I think it was, I can't believe he caught it. So I'm giving him a touchdown. That was unbelievable.
Impressive 80-yard drive, keyed by a couple of Mason Wiley catches, as well as the work of Tyrus Cobbins and Caden Allen on the ground.
Now you get up 7-0.
You can pin your ears back a little bit.
Yeah, when this special teams, they're jacked up. Let's see what kind of kickoff we get. Run down there and knock some heads. Oh, Squibber that time. Oh, excellent job.
They covered that one nicely, and East Jessamine will fall forward to the 44.
Yeah, Nathan Rice, he's a junior running back, and he did an excellent job there of getting it on the hop. If he lets that go on, that's exactly what Great Crossings would have wanted. Gets it, makes a nice gain out of it. Now they've got excellent field position to start.
Good news on the home front so far. Both teams up 7-0. Montego Jones with the 2-yard run for Scott County at Bryan Station.
I'm like you. I think a lot of people thought Bryan Station was going to win that game.
Yeah, not so fast, my friend, as Coach Corso would say.
Well, it looked like East Jessamine lined up off sides there. Or
they will charge forward for a gain of a pair. It was an odd formation. Strangely developing play at the very least, but they get some positive momentum out of it. Call it a 3-yard gain. I'm just still in awe of that catch.
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
It just went up and got it. Climbed the ladder. So many different ways you could put it, but hopefully the news channels were here early, and you'll see it tonight again. Out of the shotgun, Heisel. He had time, but he overthrew it, and a lot of good coverage back there. There were 4 blue shirts and 1 white shirt. The odds were against him.
Yeah, and that's such a tough throw. He's rolling out to his left, and then he's trying to come back for a right-hander, and he just didn't get his shoulder turned, and so the ball fluttered a little bit on him.
And again, he's a freshman, and he's already been hit by Mr. Fisher and Mr. Frazier. Yeah. He's got to be contemplating his life choices again right about now.
Now, the last time they were in a 3rd and long, Great Crossings brought Perry up to the line of scrimmage, blitzed him, and they did a nice job of dragging a receiver across the middle. They're in that exact same set. And let's see if Perry stays on or looks like he's backing up a little bit.
They will throw it, a little slant over the middle, but well read, perfectly read by Mr. Perry. And they will gain maybe one and more than likely will punt here. They're looking to the sideline. And now the punt team will come in.
And if you're the Great Crossings coaches, that's the beauty of having an athlete like that. Do we want to send him right here? Do we want to drop him in coverage? Because he can do it all. And he made a super play right there.
Second punt in as many drives for the Jaguars. We'll see if the Warhawks send some pressure here. It'll be a high snap. Perry almost got there. Bird will be able to take this one on the run. He'll get to the 25. He'll zigzag to the 30 and finally get lassoed out of bounds at the 31. So decent field position after the 13-yard return by Drake Bird with 2:09 remaining in the first quarter. 7-0 Great Crossing trying to build on it. I'd like to thank some of our sponsors, Bluegrass Orthopedics, serving athletes of all ages, Georgetown News Graphic, Scott County's 24/7 news source. You can find us online at news-graphic.com. Thank you for listening to the game there tonight. Galvin's on Main. Stop by Galvin's after the game or anytime. Their menu offers over 100 items, and none of us have found one we don't like. Galvin's on Main, a proud corporate sponsor of Bird's Nest Athletics. Here we go with Nichols in the shotgun. He'll hand off to Cobbins. Cobbins finding room off of a right tackle again, and another gain of 8-9. He's been consistent tonight so far.
Yeah, you could see Nichols reading that. He almost kept that ball, but went ahead and gave it up. I think it was a good read. Get you 7-8 yards. Now in 2nd and 2, you can do a lot. We haven't seen him play action and go deep yet. This might be the play right here.
Brian Station fights back quickly to score, but I believe the PAT was no good unless the scoreboard on NFHS is not working. So 7-6 Scott County at last check.
Great Crossing coaching staff not happy.
They're going to get a timeout. Things were a little discombobulated there on 2nd and 2, and they're going to talk about it. Back after the opener, I remember Coach Bowling said that was the one issue in that game, that Nichols, with his lack of experience, sometimes they had a hard time getting the call in, and still maybe an issue in week 4 just a little bit.
Yeah, look there like they just didn't have the right personnel in because they were hollering for somebody to come off the sideline, and finally Coach just went ahead and called the timeout. Easy to do in the first half. You know, you don't mind using up those timeouts a lot of times. But let's get the right play. We'll see what they end up going with, but I still wouldn't be a bit surprised to see a play action deep ball.
So many options on 2nd and 2. Once you have confidence in your running game, it becomes kind of a passing down almost, especially when you have the weapons that this team continues to develop in that passing game.
Well, and we've said it over and over, too. When you've got an experienced line like that, you usually don't have to worry about a negative play. So if something doesn't work, you're still going to come back with 3rd and 2.
And the odds are still in your favor. They will throw it out quickly to Coulter, who's got room. Harris. Harris will get to the 50 inside of midfield. And Peyton has a first down. Spreading it around. They've thrown it twice to Wiley, once to Kelly in a big way, and now Harris. Nichols has been right on the money tonight.
Yeah, he just continues to throw the ball, stays within himself. What I like, too, is he throws a very catchable ball. He's not trying to knock you down with it. But when he does have to let it go, he can.
Lots of time to throw, and they've had great balance offensively tonight. They've been able to move the football on the ground, which certainly helps a ton. Not so much there, because Cobbins will get about a yard before he stopped. In fact, they didn't give him that much forward progress. It'll be 2nd and 10.
I don't see the Great Crossing staff right there arguing too much, but, boy, they brought their safety up to try to blitz right there.
It was close to
certainly
encroachment.
Looked like he got into the line.
He read the snap count pretty well. I'll give him that. They're at the 49, 2nd and 10. Second possession of the game, final seconds of the first quarter. We're under 30. Quick throw to Perry. Lots of room on the right side. One man to beat. Stiff arm at the 20. Gets away. Tiptoes the sideline.
He called him
No,
out.
he called him out at the 17, so I think it was the right call. I was kind of surprised. Didn't hear the whistle, but it's probably this headset. Nice gain of 32, though.
Crowd doesn't like it, but
$32 yards to the 17. Clock will stop with 18.6 seconds, so they'll have at least one more play here in this first quarter. They'll hand it off to Cobbins. A lot of room left side. It closed quickly, though. He'll spin to the 13 before the tackle is made by Cameron Castillo. And time will tick away. They'll mark him at the 14. So it'll be 2nd and 7 when we return to action at the end of the first quarter. Your score, Great Crossing 7, East Jessamine nothing, but the Warhawks are threatening again.
Yeah, they just continue to do what they want. And having said that, though, I really feel like East Jessamine has done an excellent job of tackling. I mean, they're surrounding, they're swarming to the ball. And this is, again, it's Great Crossings taking that next step. I mean, this just goes to show that they have a mature football team. They're not panicking. They're doing what they have to do to get the ball in the end zone. First drive, what was it, guy? Was it 8 or 9 plays? I mean,
yeah, they were methodical from their own 20. They mixed it up well. They had some good gains from Cobbins and Allen. Those throws to Wiley also moved the chains a couple of times, and then the touchdown pass to Kelly, which.
Well, the first quarter seemed to fly by, and when that happens, that usually means you're doing
you're not throwing a lot
drives.
of incomplete passes
exactly
for one
right.
thing. I think probably 5 for 5, if my memory serves, is Nichols in that first quarter. We want to thank DMK CPA, Denise M. Keene, for all your tax and auditing needs. Brickhouse Properties, real estate, buying and selling made easy. Chick-fil-A, home of the original chicken sandwich. TMMK. Toyota, of course, a big supporter of Bird's Nest Athletics. As always, Clark's Pump and Shop, return, refresh, refuel. 3 Georgetown locations. Georgetown Community Hospital, where your health and safety remain their number one priority. And West Banco, by all accounts, better. Here we go. The teams have switched ends. Ball at the 14, 2nd and 7. Warhawks threatening again with a 7-0 lead. Nichols in the shotgun. He'll look to the right side. Oh, it's off of Harris's fingertips. That was a forward pass, incomplete.
Well, they had what they wanted to. They got him out there on an island. Both receivers are blocking well. I think he could have hit that seam and taken it in. And maybe that's why he knew that they had him and just took his eyes off of it for just a second.
I think he knew he had a lot of daylight.
He did.
And, just sometimes you put the cart before the horse there. 3rd and 7. Definitely 4-down territory. Great Crossings had some injuries and other issues in the kicking game as well. So they're probably inclined to go for it here no matter what happens on 3rd down. There's the throw from Nichols on the money to Kelly. Kelly's trying to spin to the marker. He gets wrapped up about a yard short, maybe a yard and a half. They'll mark it at the 9, so it'll be 4th and 2, a short 2.
And I tell you, that's a ball right there that a lot of people won't notice by Nichols, but he throws it to the outside of the receiver away from the defensive back. He's able to catch it, turn, and make a play, as opposed to if he throws that in, then maybe the defensive back gets a hand on it. It seems like a simple throw, but that's really a beautiful throw by Nichols.
It's a throw that you see the continued maturity coming from the junior quarterback who missed all of last season, as we've mentioned. 4th down. Allen, big hole right tackle. He'll get the first down. He'll be stopped at the 6. So 1st and goal for the Warhawks. And you just credit that to the right side of the offensive line there.
It was. I thought he was taking it to the house there for a second, but defensive back came up, made a nice play for East.
They closed the gaps quickly due to the
really
Jaguars. I'll give them credit for that. They have bent but not broken. It has taken some special plays to get in the end zone. 1 so far. They've got 4 cracks here from the 6.
I think they'll keep hammering it in between.
Allen in the backfield. He's shown that he can hammer it in from there. He will try it inside the 5. Nope, he won't get to the 5. As a good tackle there again by number 39, Logan Williams, the two-way standout as he runs the ball as well. for the Jaguars.
I think Allen, if he had that over to do again, he would have just lowered the shoulder, gone in, got him a couple yards, and now you got it on the 3. Instead, he tried to bounce out.
This is what
no gain.
This is what the Jags have done to their prior 2 opponents. They've played them both tough, Bourbon County and Rockcastle County. A touchdown or less in each of those losses. Nichols with time to throw. Now he's scrambling for his life. He evades 2, 3. He'll try, and he will finally get stood up at about the market forward progress at the 8. So he didn't lose a ton. It turned into a scramble instead of a sack. So give Nichols credit for that. He didn't take the 6 or 7 yard loss that could have happened there. So 3rd and goal from about the 8. Long drive here, but you got to put some points on the board to make it pay off.
Yeah, you do. Let's see if Great Crossings goes back to that, just trying to set in the scene maybe at the 1 or the 2 yard line and see if they can't make a play to get on in.
Perry in motion. Allen the lone setback. Nichols. Again, he will get sacked. Is coming in, number 88, Jacob Reeder. He's a sophomore, 165 pounds off the edge. And now what do you do? 4th and goal. Your kicking game is kind of struggled, but you're at the 17. I think you've got to throw another jump ball and hope for the best.
I think so, too.
They're probably going to use a timeout here, although thinking about it, Nichols waiting for the call. Now he will head back in. They've got 15 on the play clock. Game clock kicks down to 9:20. Here we go. Warhawks, 4th and goal from the 17. Not ideal. Somebody's going to call a timeout here.
Yeah, East Jessamine calls time.
Jaguars want to talk it over. As they've got to be aware of A, Perry, B, Kelly, C, Coulter.
And I'm interested to see how they play this, on 4th and forever. Do they just bring the heat and then you might leave a Perry one-on-one out there on the edge, or do they drop back and, have 8, keep everything in front and then take over? It'll be interesting to see what they do.
Still Scott County 7-6 with 3:19 remaining in the first quarter. They turned it over after the Bryan Station touchdown did the Cardinals. So they faced some adversity already in that one, but they're still on top. Warhawks here trying to pad their lead, but it's a tall order. Of course, they have some tall orders, one wearing number 8 that could have something to say about it here.
Yeah, this is the cat and mouse game that you play, but when you've got 4th and goal from the 17, I think East Jessamine likes where they're at, but we'll see what.
They've got Coulter and Perry to the left, Wiley and Kelly to the right, Allen in the backfield. Shotgun snap to Nichols. Nichols will go over the middle. He underthrows it. It gets picked off. Either way, it's East Jessamine ball. He would have been better knocking it down. He would have saved himself 3 yards. Actually, no, they gained 3. They'll come out to the 20 with the touchback because they are going to rule it an interception. So that's only the 2nd pick thrown by Gabe Nichols this season. And Great Crossing comes up empty in the 4th and goal situation.
Yeah, they've got to be disappointed in that, obviously. I mean, you had it 1st and goal from, whatever it was, and ended up getting a negative play, and then, the sack. But Nichols did a nice job right there. He steps up in the pocket, and he just tried a touch pass over the middle and just left it a little short. But I'm sure he's kicking himself, but, really, that's such a tough throw when you're trying to throw it over a defensive back with limited space because, you've got the end zone.
East Jess with the ball again. They've had to punt twice. And there's a pass that's going nowhere is coming in. Guess who? Caleb Perry stops that one for a gain of maybe a half yard.
And that's Perry just keeping his eyes up. He's actually on a different receiver right there. When the ball's thrown, he leaves his man, goes up and makes an excellent one-on-one tackle.
Great Crossing defense standing tall again. They have not been scored upon. I don't think they've even allowed a first down yet tonight, which is similar to what we saw in week 1.
Yeah, I thought Fisher was going to get there that time. He
usually does.
Got the edge, yeah.
He's got a half sack tonight unofficially, which should give him 5 on the season. Leads all of 5A. Will Frazier was in on that one as well. They have been quite the 1-2 punch off the edge. There's a good run for the Jags. They can't get much beyond the 25 before Caden, Allen, and others swarm it. It'll be 3rd and 5.
Yeah, that was just a direct snap right to the running back, and he was able to get through that first seam. But, just like you said, Cal, once again, Caleb Perry comes up to clean up. And
yeah. When you've got Perry and Allen, it's tough to run. And when you've got Fisher and Frazier, it's tough to find time to throw. So what do you do if you're a freshman quarterback?
Yeah, and I tell you, the thing about Perry is it's one thing to be an athletic, so athletic, but he is just so fundamentally sound.
Yeah,
he
he
makes
doesn't get
great
beat.
Tackles.
Doesn't get beat. And
Fisher,
that is going to be snuffed out by Big O for the 5-yard loss and another 3 and out. Ryan Fisher padding the total of tackles for loss. They'll call it a loss of 4 back to the 22.
Well, they just tried to run a sweep right there on 3rd and 5 and maybe sneak the corner, and Fisher just blew up his man and was there to make the play.
Warhawks have not allowed a first down, and we are a quarter and a half into this one. Low snap, taken in, gets it away. Bird is at his own 44, past midfield, spins just shy of the East Jess 40, call it the 42. Best field position of the night to start out for the Warhawks.
And that's twice since, we talked about that first punt where Bird was kicking himself, but he's come up, made a play, and put his team in excellent field position.
He is a playmaker on both sides of the ball, especially on defense and special teams. In 2 of the 3 phases of the game, he makes his presence felt. Nichols goes to work again. He will fire it out to Harris on the near side. There's going to be a hold there. So that will not go anywhere. They're going to get Jacob Coulter for a little too much jersey.
Yeah, I think he was okay at the beginning. He had the hands inside. But then when the DB tried to get outside, he just held on too long. I don't even think he had to do that because it looked like he had the corner.
It was going to be a gain of 2 or 3. It wasn't going to be anything extraordinary, but instead it will be 1st and 20. So not what you wanted after starting a drive on East Jessamine side of the field for the first time. As you've said, a fast-moving first half. We're down to 6:08 and counting in the second quarter. Jessamine has had 3 3-and-outs, and this is the 3rd Warhawks series. 1 found the end zone, 1 stopped just shy. Nichols in the shotgun. He'll throw a little screen to Cobbins. Cobbins breaks away from an ankle tackle and gets back into Jaguar territory, but he's taken down by Reeder at the 48.
And I like that call, but again, it just goes to show how disciplined East Jessamine is being. I'm impressed with their defense.
They're staying at home.
Yeah.
That's how you defend a screenplay. 2nd and 16. As we hit the lights, we notice it's getting darker earlier here in central Kentucky. Mid-September. Good throw by Nichols to the right side over on the East Jess sideline, but they gang tackle Kelly. They'll mark it at the 38, so that makes it a manageable 3rd and 6. 5 minutes to play here in the half. Nichols has been efficient except for the end of that second drive where he took a couple of sacks and then threw the pick.
I wouldn't be surprised right here to see him run the ball and then go for it on 4th down.
Nichols, they ran the option play with him with some success last week to set up a touchdown. We haven't seen that yet tonight.
They're bringing the heat.
They are going to throw it in the left flat to Coulter. They wrap it up quickly, so it'll be 4th and about a yard. He was just shy of the stick, and a nice play there again by East Jess to make them earn it. It'll be actually less than a yard from where they marked it, so a good spot for Coulter.
Yeah, it was an excellent one-on-one tackle by Jackson because East Jessamine had brought the blitz, and if he doesn't make that tackle, he's gone to the house.
I don't think it's close enough to measure, but it is half a yard at more, and they are going to measure it. Might be a link or two short. 4:04 to play here in the first half. Let's talk about some more of our sponsors. Greens Toyota of Lexington. Great people, great cars. Think Greens. Those are paint and flooring. Your hometown paint and flooring connection. Scott County Veterinary Clinic. We love and treat your pets like our own. Come join our SC Veterinary Clinic family. People's Bank, working together, building success. Come see us at 101 Canewood Center Drive. Time to Shine Car Wash. Your car will shine at Time to Shine Car Wash. 8 Lexington area locations to serve you. And Steve Skierman, Kentucky Farm Bureau Insurance, ready to meet all your insurance needs. Steve is the sponsor of tonight's player of the game. It is probably about a foot. 4th and a foot, we'll call it. What do you call here?
Well, you just lean on that O-line, and
I would say Mr. Cobbins or Allen, whoever you think can get the most forward momentum churning. Yeah, it looks like Allen. He's the guy with the I've been so impressed with the leg strength from day one.
Yeah.
Talked about that weight room. It helps more than just the lineman. Nichols in the shotgun. Nope, Nichols. It's Perry. It's Perry in the Wildcat, and he will get the first down to the 30.
Yeah.
So that's a good spot for that. We hadn't seen it yet tonight, but Caleb Perry at 6'4" is the logical choice to run that play.
That's where old school guys like me and you, I like to see them go under center.
I know, but it's hard. It's hard to do when you don't do it on every play. That's the thing. It's hard to be something you're not. And we saw it in the other direction with Scott County on opening night. You kind of have to be what you are. Nice throw again. Nice catch by Kelly. And he will take it to the house for his second touchdown of the night. Little hook. And he was gone. Made one man miss. And he's done it in 2 very distinctly different fashions, but Z-Man makes it 13-zip, and they are a extra point away from 14-0 lead.
And, Cal, that was such a long throw across the field that I think the defensive back, Rice, thought he was going to pick it, and then, he was able to make that play and then take it to the house. So he was completely out of position.
Fair, the kicker now for Great Crossing. He's the 3rd guy that's played that role this season. He makes a second PAT of the night, and it is 14-0.
Well, Great Crossings was kicking itself last time for not scoring inside the 10-yard line and getting nothing out.
They didn't have to worry about being inside the 10 this time.
Yeah, so that was a different type of drive, couple of big plays. When, if you'll remember, they started out at 1st and 20.
Yeah, they put themselves in a spot with the holding penalty, but then some good play calls, I thought, to get themselves out of that predicament.
Well, a big 4th down. That kind of breaks the spirit of East Jessamine. They get them in a 4th down, and they didn't hold. And then just a terrific throw again all the way across the field. That's a tough throw to make.
Nichols, I've been impressed with, it is, because it's from this hash mark on this side, and you're kind of throwing across your body. And the danger of that is to underthrow it and get it picked off and have the guy go to the house. But when you've got trust in your receivers and belief in your arm.
Well, like you said, it went from the left hash all the way to the right numbers, not just the hash, but all the way to the numbers.
Good throw, good catch, good move, and the speed to burn give the Warhawks the 14-0 lead. Mishandled, and they will have to fall on it there. As Chance Jackson will cover up, cut his losses at the 22. So East Jessamine still without a first down. We'll go to work down 14-0 here.
And that's that kickoff again that we talked about, right close to the sidelines. Get them bottled up. And even though he dropped that, I still feel like Great Crossing was in an excellent position to make a play if he does field it cleanly.
Impressive start. 2 out of 3 drives to the end zone. Zachary Kelly with 2 touchdown catches. Good throws by Gabe Nichols, but one a great catch and one some great athleticism to get away and run to the house. So 14-0. And the defense has been lights out, although here East Jess will fall forward for a gain of 3 on first down. Coming up from the bottom of the pile for the Jaguars is number 7, Taji Jackson. He has been their leading ground gainer, 168 yards through 2 games. We mentioned they lost a COVID forfeit last week to Shelby County, so they come in technically 0-3. That's the rule this year if you have to forfeit the game. And it really comes down to numbers. If you have the numbers, you can probably afford to, at least play the game. We saw Western Hills do that on opening night. Still see a lot of guys not in pads over on that West Jessamine sideline. Fullback here stacked up. Logan Williams nowhere to run and nowhere to hide from that swarming Warhawk defense.
Well, and I think the biggest thing about when you have to forfeit a game, Cal, is the practice time.
That because your sideline, you can't practice that week either. So you're missing out on
it's just
a big chunk, 10 days more than likely.
Yeah, you're losing the conditioning. You're the reps that you would normally get. Just makes it so hard. It'd make it hard on anybody.
Knock on wood, we haven't had too many issues in the county yet this year. It helps when you have the numbers, and it helps when you have the depth. Well, thanks. Burger King, home of the Whopper, Domino's Pizza. Come check out the new Georgetown location at the corner of Champion Way and US 25. Sword Performance, the official hydration product of Great Crossing Scott County Athletics. Pick up a Shield drink at any Clark's Pump and Shop today. Jersey Mike's, come see them at their new location, opening very, very soon. They offer a sub above and BMT maintenance technicians who are factory trained and certified to serve an extensive variety of commercial HVAC, cooking, and refrigeration equipment. Give them a call today.
And I tell you, I would not be surprised to see East Jessamine keep it on the ground here, make Great Crossings take their last time out. The last thing you want to do is go down 21-0 at half. And they would still have a chance, but I think you've got to get it to under 2 minutes. But
under duress is the quarterback. Frazier is there. He's going to get sacked.
Look for Great Crossings to call timeout here.
Chase Little came in there. Guess who? Orion Fisher as well.
Wasted a little bit of time, but they went ahead and took it. And now you got 153. You're going to get the ball. You should get the ball on, East Jessamine side of the 50, unless they just get an incredible punt.
And here's the deal. If Great Crossing can find a way to score, guess what? They get the second half kickoff too. Yeah. So it's that world-famous Bill Belichick double possession that
that's right.
Some coaches utilize so well.
And that's why I was a little surprised. That I know that some people say, well, you got to go down and score. You're down 14-0.
Yeah.
But sometimes, in that situation, 3rd and 7, that doesn't seem like forever. But with the pass rush that Great Crossings has, you're all the way back on the 25-yard line.
Bryan Station moves ahead 12-7. 40-yard pass from Trenton Cutright to Jamarius Lindsay. The PAT was blocked.
I'm surprised Bird is actually back as deep as he is. I wouldn't be surprised to see him creep up. Oh,
it's on the ground. I don't know if that was a fake or just a miscue or what.
By the reaction of the punter, I think it was a miscue because he was scrambling trying to fall.
So a bad snap. Looks like Orion Fisher picked it up. There's a lot of confusion up here, too, in the announcer's booth.
And I thought at that point, Great Crossing was going to pick that ball up and take it in, but they, couldn't quite get it. And then they did the smart thing and just fell on it and said, okay, we're going to have the ball 1st and 10.
First and 10 at the 14. Now is going to be a timeout as neither team ready after that strange turn of events. None of us were. I thought maybe they snapped it to the short man or something. I mean, it was a weird place to do something like that. But when you're down 14-0 and nothing's going well offensively, anything is possible. But then we saw it on the ground. And
I was focused on the punter, and I could see the reaction. He just starts running up. I was like, "What is he doing?" I thought maybe he was trying to run, but he didn't even have the ball. So
he hit somebody in the hip pad in front of the punter, I think, and ended up on the ground and in the big mitts of Orion Fisher, who has made his presence felt on a couple of sacks in the first half here tonight. And now essentially a turnover on downs. Well, actually, technically a turnover as they did come up with the fumble. So,
and here's where, my old coach used to say, don't hurry, but be quick. You don't have to scramble here, but you don't have any timeouts, and there is 1:47, so you want to get in and out of the huddle, but you don't have to just be crazy here. I mean, you can run your offense.
It's another good way to measure the growing maturity of your team. Cobbins can use the sideline too, and he does. He gets out of bounds near the 12, pick up a couple. Stops the clock with 1:42 remaining. Great Crossing up 14-0 and looking for more to end this half. They have done it defensively, and they have done it with some spectacular work through the passing game. 2 touchdown passes in the first half for the second straight week for Gabe Nichols. Both tonight to Zachary Kelly, who was split out to the right again. Perry in motion, or is it Wiley in motion? He'll throw it to Wiley, but they won't get anything there as it was read very well by East Jessamine, number 9, Chance Jackson, and number 24, Cameron Castillo. So 3rd and long. Not terribly long because they're at the 11, 3rd and 7. They can get the first down without getting the touchdown here. As you said, the clock is not your best friend, but not your enemy either. Nichols looks left, finds his man, Jacob Coulter. 3rd touchdown pass of the half for the junior Gabe Nichols. 20-0, Great Crossing, PAT pending.
Well, as they got closer to the end zone, which it's been that way all day, East Jessamine has loaded that box. And you get some one-on-ones in that situation. And instead of going with the fade there, they go with the simple slant cut over the middle, and Nichols just puts it right on it.
It's been a surgical first half for the Warhawk offense. 4 drives, they've scored 3 times. Very well could have been 4 for 4. Fair's kick is good, and it's 21-0 with 1:06.
And that's a huge touchdown, as you said. Now, Great Crossings gets it first in the second half. It's going to be tough for East Jessamine.
Jacob Coulter caught a touchdown pass last week as well. Nichols has been on the money tonight.
He really has. I mean, some of these balls.
Yeah, he just doesn't miss his receivers. He puts the ball where only they can get it for the most part.
We talked about early on some of those where, the digs where the receivers are just sitting in that zone. That's just a pitch and catch. But on that play right there, when they're slanting across the middle, that's not the easiest pass to make. And, I mean, he is putting it right in the numbers. So impressed with him.
Bryan Station still leads 12-7, about 4 minutes to go in the first half over in Lexington. Both teams looking to go 2-1 there. Great Crossing well on its way to 4-0, which would be the longest winning streak in the short history of the program, as they are up 21-0 with 1:06 to play here in the first half. Kick short, taken on the run at the 27 by Jackson. He will fight hard, not get to the 35 as he's met there by a gaggle of Warhawks. Jarvey Ray was in on it. Malachi Young, Jackson was there as well.
Special teams coach Russell Floyd, he's got to be excited. They're playing awfully well.
I said Jackson. Johnson, excuse me, Isaiah Johnson. Jackson was the return man. They will mark it at the 34. .9 seconds to play here in the first half. We'll see what, if anything, East Jessamine does, or if it'll just cut its losses and talk it over. They will try to throw. He will go deep. The only man there who should have been picked off. I don't know if he lost it in the lights or what, but Jarvey Ray holding his head saying, "What am I doing?" Because that was an easy pick.
Well, I don't think the receiver or the DB.
I don't think either one of them. I think the ball came out much quicker.
Yeah.
And coaches are kind of like,
yeah,
what do you want us to do about it?
Look like they're calling a roughing the passer.
Oh, boy. So that will be the first down of the night if that's the case, as there is a flag down at the point where the ball was thrown.
And that may be why he was trying to get rid of it so quick. He knew somebody was breathing.
Oh, they were definitely coming. They will mark off 15.
You know, Great Crossings coaches right now are saying that is the last thing we needed. Now you're putting them in a position where, you know, as good as your defense is played, you're still giving them the ball at the 50 with only 43 seconds, but
gives you a puncher's chance for midfield.
And East Jessamine does have one timeout.
Heisel throws a decent ball. We haven't had a chance to see it much until then, as he has been under duress, to say the least, as you might expect with this Warhawk defense, the way they have performed through 3.5 weeks. He had no time there at all. He had Combs and Fisher and Little coming at him. Allen, Harris, and Ray were covering. It's hard when you're 11 on 11 and there's 6 guys, 6 of those 11 right in your face.
Yeah, Heisel's got to be thinking, you know, not only are they breathing down my throat, but nobody's open.
No time and no targets. 2nd and 10, 1 yard shy of midfield. I don't think any time ticked off the clock there. Still stayed at 40.3. They wouldn't have lost much anyway on an incomplete pass. Oh, direct snap to the fullback, Williams. He's got a seam. He's up over the 40, so first down the conventional way now. So East Jess with 30 seconds, 30.7. They'll stop it while they move the chains. They've got one timeout if they choose to use it. Now the clock's running again.
Wiley.
Yeah, Wiley came up and made that play, or Williams would still be running.
Yeah.
Well-designed play by the Jags to give themselves a chance. Heisel running for his life. Scrambles. Gets thrown down.
You gotta take a timeout.
They're going to have to take a timeout there.
And they haven't stopped the clock. They're going to have to put some time back on. That was
Brandon Smith made the tackle there. I think of him on the offensive side of the ball, but he made a nice defensive play there to stop the scramble after a yard. Basically going to have time to throw a Hail Mary here, 7.1.
I wouldn't be surprised if they put an extra 5 seconds on there. They were calling for that timeout well before. I think they're going to say, somebody call up to the booth because
booth review.
Yeah, they are. They're going to put time back on the clock. Let's see what they change it to. I'm going to guess about 12. They'll go from 7 to 12.
Second turnover by Scott County is a special teams giveaway as they fumble a punt. So causing trouble for themselves tonight are the Cardinals against a tough opponent in the Bryan Station Defenders.
I think they're trying to put either 13 seconds.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not a minute 30. There you go. The lucky 13 is up on the board.
And that seems about right because East
Yeah.
Jessamine was calling a timeout.
As I said, it's kind of, it all comes out in the wash because they ran a pass play where no time ticked off the clock. So they probably could have left it alone, but they've given them 6 more seconds to work with here. Maybe time for a throw to the sideline if they can get out of bounds and get it a little closer for Heisel. 21-0. First two first downs of the game, one via penalty, one via an inside, actually a direct snap on a running play for Logan Williams. Heisel's going to run a little draw. He almost was over the line of scrimmage, but he gets it away smartly, and they will run out of time. I don't think they have any timeouts left. They're going to get stopped at the 19. The clock will stop for the chains to move. Maybe he can spike it.
Ball,
yeah, maybe he can.
And they're up there. I think they'll be okay if they can.
At the 18 now, so they move it ahead a yard. 3, 2, 1. They'll spike it with 1 second left. They will have time to throw one ball to the end zone. So kind of a ragged end to the first half here for the Great Crossing defense. They've been in a little bit of prevent mode, and that's what allowed them to pick up yardage on that direct snap, and now that little kind of a jump pass almost.
Yeah, and Heisel got absolutely drilled on that play.
He was a runner at that point. He was right up to the line of scrimmage, maybe a half yard shy of it. Got rid of the ball, but he took a pop. He'll have time to try to deliver a counterpunch here for the Jaguars as they will try to get on the board at the end of the half. They're coming at him. Jump ball, nobody there except Great Crossing blue shirts. It'll be picked off in the end zone by Jacob Coulter. They had the hands team out there, and Coulter picks it off to end the half. 21-0 is your score. It was all Great Crossing. Couple of blips on the radar screen, including there, but it ends all's well that ends well.
Yeah, that was an outstanding half. I mean, ran the ball pretty well. Nichols, some excellent throws. The defense just continues to impress. I think, outside of that last 30 seconds, the only first down they had was from a penalty, from a roughing the
they picked up 2 through the air there at the end, but 1 on the ground, 1 in the air.
So they got to be feeling good right here. As you said, they get the ball to start the second half, march down the field, get you an 8-minute drive and go up 28-0, and you got to be feeling great about things.
It's been an interesting, I want to say, comedy of errors from both sides in that other game. Bryan Station's facing 2nd and 27 after a bad snap. They were trying to build on a 12-7 lead late in the first half. So Scott County hanging in against one of the better teams in 6A. That's a top 10 matchup.
Well, I think that's going to end up going down to the wire.
I believe you're right. This one probably not the way it's headed, as we've got the homecoming court coming onto the field. So we'll talk football during that, but you can kind of take a look at the pageantry here of homecoming. It's never too early in COVID world to do senior night. They did senior night for football and the band.
Yeah, it's a pretty smart thing. It's
you don't want to leave it till the last week
That's
and
right.
then
That's right.
have issues not being able to have it at all. Kids have lost enough in this equation as it is.
Yeah, you're seeing a lot of that, whether it's soccer, volleyball, or football, this fall. It's
the quickie stats have arrived. 2 first downs, 3 if you count the penalty, to Great Crossing's 11. So Great Crossing dominates that category. Rushing, 10 attempts for 3 yards. That includes a couple of sacks in there for East Jess.
Yeah, but the only success they had on the ground was when they did the direct snap. They did that a couple times.
East Jess held to 20 yards of total offense. They were 4 for 7 through the air for 17 yards passing. Gabe Nichols, 12 for 14. One of those 2 incompletions was a pick. He threw for 138.
And the other one was a drop. Remember, we talked about the little swing pass where they had plenty of room maybe to take it into the end zone, and he just took his eyes off of it. So really, other than the interception, Nichols has just been spot on.
So it was, again, a situation where they had allowed minus yardage on the night until that final drive. Gave up a whopping 20 yards. Did the Great Crossing defense.
Well, they continue to play at a high level, just swarming the quarterback.
Zachary Kelly on the offensive side to add to Gabe Nichols' stats. Zachary was a big part of that with 4 catches for 51 yards. He had 2 touchdowns. One was just an unbelievable catch. I don't know if you can fully appreciate it on the NFHS camera feed or not, but if somebody gets it on the 11 o'clock news, by all means, enjoy it again. As he just went up and got it with one hand and pulled it down, dragged his foot inbounds. He also had a little hook and go on the sideline for a second score to cover 30 yards. The first one was a 6-yarder. Caleb Perry had a 32-yard catch. Mason Wiley, 3 catches for 22. Jacob Coulter grabbed the touchdown as well. He had 2 catches for 17. Peyton Harris and Tyrus Cobbins each with a reception. So Gabe made use of 6 different receivers with his 12 completions.
And I think that's what's so impressive about Great Crossing is just how they're able to spread the ball out, whether it's in the running game, the throwing game. And I tell you, to go back to the one-handed catch, first of all, it's just ridiculous. But when you can catch the ball with one hand and still get your feet in back, because he's right in the corner of the end zone. I mean, I don't know how he did it.
I mean, you've got the band there.
Yeah.
You've got cheerleaders. It's, you're surrounded, and you have to keep your presence of mind to see where that white paint chalk line is.
And I would be interested to know if he's left-handed.
Yeah,
because he caught that ball with his left hand.
Yeah, the play at Henry Clay, he went up with both, but this one was clearly a one-handed catch, even from my obscured view here at the 50-yard line. It was just an incredible play and set the tone for the whole game so far, as the offense has been efficient. They've had the ball 4 times. They've scored 3. The only drive they didn't score, they got down to the 6-yard line, 1st and goal, before a couple of sacks took them out. We've got some senior players on the field with their parents as well. Caleb Perry, Will Frazier, Peyton Harris, Mr. Godfrey, I believe, Jeremy Godfrey.
King and Queen here to be announced.
Always an important title that they can never take away from you. So much of this high school experience. Just glad they can do all of this
Absolutely.
Year once again. Maddie Allen is your homecoming queen.
There's a proud dad there.
One happy family. As she wears the crown. My money's on Caleb Perry.
That's what I was thinking.
But what do I know?
Your 2021 homecoming king is Caleb Perry.
Yes, sir, Mr. Perry.
The odds-on
favorite. Take it to the bank.
Well, like you said, it's good to see smiling faces out there. Good for those two as they pose for pictures.
So a good moment for the Perry and Allen families. And a great crowd for Great Crossing once again, as we have been treated to just about perfect weather here to start the season, knock on wood, on these Friday nights. Next week, it will be Scott County finally at home again. It will have been 4 weeks since their last appearance, including byes. They will host Paul Lawrence Dunbar.
And if the forecast doesn't lie to us, Cal, it's supposed to be another beautiful
All right,
Friday
we'll take
night.
it. Yeah. We deserve it, I think.
84 and partly sunny during the day, so.
I love fall weather in Kentucky.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It reminds me of summer weather back where I came from. You know, I'm still a fan of 80-degree days at this time of year. I know some people aren't, but I love it. Great first half for the home team is just what you want on homecoming night. A 21-0 lead. We'll go over the scoring summary once again. 11-play, 80-yard drive, topped off by that incredible Zachary Kelly catch. Gabe Nichols with the throw. It took 3 minutes and 52 seconds, or rather, it took 5 minutes and 44 seconds. It came with 3:52 remaining in the first quarter. PAT made it 7-0, and then two more scores in the second quarter. Zachary Kelly, a shorter drive, 5 plays, 42 yards. He made the 30-yard catch and run. And then Jacob Coulter on the slant, 11 yards with 1:06 to play. The only threat by East Jessamine was at the end of the half, and Jacob Coulter picked that off. So Coulter kind of came to the forefront in the last 75 seconds of that half. Great Crossing will be at Bourbon County next week. Bourbon County beat this East Jessamine team 27-20. So if you're looking for comparative scores. On the defensive side tonight, 3 sacks. Fisher, Little, and Frazier all in on that party.
And that really doesn't tell the story. I mean, he was pressured.
Oh, it
could have
easily been 6 or 7, as Heisel has. You could tell he's caught on that he needs to have a catch and release of about 0.8 seconds, or he's going to get hammered there on that shotgun snap. Let's get an update on the other game. It is 12-7. Still Bryan Station at the half. Let's look at some of the stats from that game as soon as I can open them up here. Looks like Jeremy Hamilton has been the leading ground gainer. I don't see any evidence of Campton Martin playing in that game. Hamilton 6 for 48. Montego Jones 9 for 39 and a TD. Thomas Fikert 4 for 26. Andrew Hickey, the freshman, has thrown it 3 times, completed 2 for 46 yards. One of those was a 33-yarder to Jeremy Hamilton.
Well, as you had talked about, now that's getting back to what they do well, running that wing tee, and then every now and then, throw the ball downfield. They usually have a guy wide open.
On the defensive side of the ball, they've done a good job against the 2-star running backs for Bryan Station, Joseph Bond and Jeremiah Mundy Lloyd. They've allowed 58 total yards to them on 11 carries. And Cutright, the quarterback, has completed only 2 of 6 for 52. Jamarius Lindsay with the touchdown catch for Bryan Station. Bond had the touchdown run, and turnovers have been an issue, and 2 key ones for Scott County that have led to the 12-7 score there. So a close one for the Cards as they look to move on the plus side of the ledger. We're being entertained by the Great Crossing Band.
They look like they're having fun.
Jump around down there. If you're the East Jessamine coach, you saw some positive signs there, albeit against the prevent defense at the end of the half.
Right.
What can you do differently, if anything, in the second half?
Well, defensively, we talked about how I thought they really tackled well. They swarmed to the ball. They just got beat by some impressive throws by Nichols. But offensively, we talked about early on, they ran a couple drag routes where the guy was open, but they're not getting anything out of the running game. So that's allowing the two defensive ends
3 yards.
To just pin their ears back and bring it at you. So I think what you're going to have to do is, either go max protection and try to win some one-on-ones, or, you're just going to have to run some quicker routes. A lot like what Great Crossing did early on, where you just run a 6-yard down the field, turn around, and let's just try to – and if you can do that, then not only are you moving the chains, but then you're keeping the ball away from Great Crossing because you're letting that defense rest, although you do have a lot of kids who are going both ways. But at least you're keeping the ball away from Gabe Nichols and
yeah, you don't want to give Gabe too many opportunities as he is settled into that position. His stats coming into tonight were 15 for 31 for 225. Tonight he's already 12 for 14, so he's only 3 completions shy of his 3-game total coming in. That's moved him well over the 50% mark. And in the high school game, that's really you can be fine with that. He's got 3 touchdown passes tonight to give him 6 on the season. That has matched his previous total as well. So it's going to be tough. The Steve Skierman Kentucky Farm Bureau Insurance Player of the Game. Do you go with the quarterback, which so often happens? It's hard to dispute that catch by Kelly, and he also had another touchdown grab. So it's going to be a tough one to see what happens here in the second half. And my goodness, the defense, you could give it to any number of guys there.
It will be tough. Tough to, in this situation. I mean, we'll see how the second half plays out. But as a quarterback, when you're 12 for 14 and one of them was a drop,
that's what
you're playing well.
That's what they. That's what you get, not to say paid to do, but at the NFL level, that's what you get paid to do. If you're someone like Brady or Prescott, you're just trying to complete 70, 80% and be efficient and throw it where only your guy can get it, and that's what Gabe has done tonight.
Is Brady ever going to stop being good?
He is somebody. I think it was Chris Collinsworth tweeted yesterday that Brady looks as good at 44 as he did at 24. And about 10 people spoke up and say, dude, he's better. 34, you can make a case that maybe he was at his peak, but he's better now than he was 20 years ago. There's no question. And, I don't know. Pass the avocado ice cream, I guess, is the key there. Maybe I'll start doing that. Time ticking away here in the half on homecoming Friday night at Great Crossing High School, Bird's Nest Stadium. Thank you for joining us on News Graphic. Please do subscribe. Check us out 24/7 at news-graphic.com. Tuesdays and Fridays, the print edition comes out as well. We don't just cover football. We've got, we're in the fall season, soccer, golf, volleyball, cross country, you name it. Georgetown College Tigers. We'll have it in there for you, or we'll have it online, or both. Tigers will be away this weekend. They flew to Babson Park, Florida yesterday, and they will play Weber International tomorrow. They got off to a great start, 42-10 win over Ave Maria University. So the Florida swing appears to be going well for GC. That's a good football team. Of course, the problem is there's another good football team in their division and in their conference called Lindsey Wilson that they got to find a way to get past. They've lost to them 7 years in a row, and they are the defending national champions. So we will see how that goes later in the season, but a good start for the Tigers.
Well, there's some good small college football played in Kentucky.
It is unbelievable, and it's an extension of the quality of the high school product. I tweeted that during the game last week because Georgetown was handing it to Ave Maria, and if you look down the roster, most of the visiting players were from Florida, and most of the Georgetown players are from Kentucky. I'm like, you know what? Florida's touted as, now granted this is NAIA, but Florida's touted as probably some of the best high school football in the country, if not Texas or Georgia. Those are the big three.
That's right, yeah.
And, be proud of Kentucky high school football because it's having a ripple effect at all levels of college football. You're even seeing it in Division I at UK, U of L, and you name it here. Caleb Perry going to Tennessee, and Ryan Fisher is going to have his pick.
Well, it just gets better every year. I mean, you and I were talking before the game about we got to see a couple of terrific players that first week from Franklin County, and then Franklin County plays Corbin, who's got 2 or 3 4-star guys. And we're not just talking about Trinity or Mayo. We're talking about teams throughout the state. Johnson Central with the big lineman, the Bingham kid, and it's everywhere. They're popping up. And I tell you, this year's junior class has some dynamite players that they're going to have 10 to 12 Division I players come out of the state of Kentucky. Easy.
You mentioned Johnson Central. We want to echo everyone else's thoughts and prayers for Coach Matney as he battles some health issues right now. And we're all pulling for you, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
It has been a tough time on the coaching fraternity in Kentucky here the past year and a half. Big night at Louisville Central as they are naming their field after Coach Scroggins tonight.
He was a Superman. I had a chance to meet him, and he was a super guy.
So a lot of great people that make it happen here in Kentucky high school football, and I think sometimes we forget about the sacrifices they make with their own health and their own families and all the time they put in behind the scenes to make this happen for us and for the kids, especially the kids on Friday nights. It's a year-round job, and it is not just throw it out there on Friday night and see what happens. It's consuming. So we're glad to be here, and we're glad to be bringing it to you as we've got some good football being played in the county this year on 2 fronts, and we do hope you will join us October 1st, 3 weeks from tonight, as that'll be the first of many big games down the stretch. We don't want you to miss next week, as we will have the Scott County Dunbar game. Then we will have a week off as Great Crossing has a bye on the 24th, and Scott County will go to Douglas. And then on the 1st, it will be the Battle of the Birds. And then we will go in deeper into district play with, I think there'll be 1 week where we have Thursday and Friday games. I believe it's the very following week, the 7th and the 8th, as Scott County will play on the Thursday night and Great Crossing on the Friday. So a lot of football in a short amount of time. We'll be happy to bring it to you all, health and welfare permitting, of course. Knock on wood, we are in week 4 and doing okay. Last year, we were just getting started on this weekend, as you may recall.
Yeah, just like you said, that's the important thing is that kids can just get out here and play. And just like we just saw homecoming, the homecoming court at halftime, senior day before the game, you're seeing the student section is rocking the American flags. With 9/11, the 20 year
Yeah, we'd be remiss
tomorrow.
if we don't mention that tomorrow. And we all remember where we were, and we all remember life being put on hold. And, high school football was one of the first things to really kind of come back and be the first thing that took our mind off it back then, as I recall. I remember a lot of schools where I was played on Saturday night that week to kind of give everybody an extra day to collect their thoughts, but it was important to get back to life, and this is one of those pastimes that helps us through the tough times. So we're very grateful, but definitely remember the friends and family and neighbors and great Americans we lost on that day, and who have been lost since, fighting the battles all around the world.
That's right,
including very recently. The flag is at half-mast tonight, so we are mindful of that as we get ready for the second half. Great Crossing football here on the NFHS Network and newsgraphic.com, the Bird's Nest Broadcasting Network. I'm Cal Oakes along with Scotty Sutton. Want to thank Mike Scoggin, Brett Smith, James Scoggin, DT Wells, Austin Haywood here at Great Crossing, who does a great job keeping me up to date on when things are going to happen and when they're not.
Yeah. And Cal, you were just talking about going back about how sports was such a big thing after 9/11. My memory, a couple of things that I remembered was, one was, if you'll remember, the Yankees went to the World Series that year, and instead of singing "Take Me Out to the Ballpark," they would sing "God Bless America." And that New York crowd singing to that,
Probably the only time in my life when I've been okay with the Yankees being in the World Series.
Yeah, but if that didn't bring tears to your eyes,
yeah, it was quite a moment.
And I remember
President Bush throwing out the
yeah.
strike right down the pike.
And I also remember I believe it was the Giants, not the Jets. I believe it was the Giants playing at Kansas City. They took the Sunday off, but then the following Sunday they played. And as they ran out onto the field, the Kansas City crowd standing, just cheering for them.
Yep.
The opposing team.
Yeah, it's one of those times where I wish, I never want to live through that again, but I do wish we could become that united again at some point in this country, and hopefully it won't take things like that to do it. It was a tough time, and it's weird to think about 20 years. None of these kids were on the planet then. It's crazy how time flies, and a whole generation has passed.
Well, and that's why when I see the student section and they're waving American flags,
it means a lot.
It does mean a lot. Yeah, it does.
It's good that they recognize it's a different world that they live in than we lived in back then. That's for sure. A lot of our innocence was lost. Taking a little while to get this half underway.
Yeah, I think we had an extra 10 minutes of halftime because
they put the extra minutes up for homecoming and the band, and I think it became a 30-minute half. But that's okay. They're reading off some sponsors here, so I'll get in a few for the second half. Bluegrass Orthopedics, serving athletes of all ages. The News Graphic, of course, news-graphic.com. Please subscribe. Galvin's on Main. Stop by after the game, before the game, anytime. Watch the game on Saturday. Great place to eat, meet, and greet. DMK, CPA, and Brickhouse Properties Real Estate, as well as we've got East Jessamine kicking off. Coulter and Perry are back for the kickoff. They made their presence felt in the first half. Coulter with a touchdown catch and a pick. Perry with a long catch to put the Warhawks in range. They scored on 3 of their 4 possessions. Short kick.
Oh, he got loose.
Couple of men to beat in. Is that Drake Bird over there? Usually I'm used to seeing him deep, and I think he's upset at himself and not hurt, I hope, as he stayed down for a minute, but all the way to the East Jessamine 42.
Yeah, he had just the kicker
Bird
to
returned at 40. He was so close to taking it to the house. He's a threat on special teams. He's a threat on defense. We've seen him in the North Oldham game, had a pick 6. They'll mark it at the 43, so great field position to start the second half and really a chance to put it away if it isn't already. I'm not sure I could see East Jessamine scoring 21 points against this defense if they had 3 weeks, but Allen, maybe a yard. Good anticipation there by Williams.
Yeah, just a super one-on-one tackle right
He's
there.
He's had a nice game for himself.
Yeah. But we've talked about it several times that East Jessamine tackles really well.
They've been in both of their other games. Yeah. This is by far the widest margin that they have faced. Nichols in the shotgun. He will look over the middle. He threw that one off the mark for one of the first times all night. Coulter was his intended receiver, but lucky to not have it picked off by Chance Jackson. It'll be 3rd and 10.
Yeah, that got on Jackson, I think, before he realized it, or he could have had a pick.
Got his hand on it, but I think it surprised him. Nichols throws it with some velocity, fair to say.
And this is another situation where I wouldn't be shocked if they ran the ball and
set up fourth
and
short.
We'll see.
But they will throw. Nichols straight drop, a little bit of a screen there. Allen gets loose, and he will get the first down, churning inside the 30. Caden Allen signals first down indeed at the 29.
Well, a good safe throw, and let's get 4 or 5 yards, but then with a couple of moves, you're going to end up getting a first down. So I love that play.
That's as good as a running play, really, because you're kind of at worst you're going to get 3 or 4 yards out of it.
Really like
if he doesn't drop it. See Jaquise Patterson down there on crutches on the sideline. We wish him well as he comes back from surgery for his injury, as Cobbins stopped at the line of scrimmage again. Patterson had 100+ in the opening game of the season.
Yeah, really,
that was it for him. It's too bad because he was off to such a flying start. Second and 10 from the 29. Getting into that rut again where they're not getting much out of the running game. Haven't needed it tonight so far. That's another high throw off the fingertips of Harris.
And that was the play that they ran so often in the first quarter, and East Jessamine did a better job of.
Yeah, they're onto it.
Yeah.
They ran it to Wiley a couple of times, and Wiley's maybe a little taller target. Wiley had a lot more space to make those catches.
Yes, absolutely.
So you're right. They are sniffing it out a little bit. 3rd and 10 from the Jaguar 29, 9:56 to play, third quarter. Warhawks on top by 3 scores. Nichols, straight drop, deep throw. He's got his man. Touchdown. Is that the hat trick for Zachary Kelly? I believe it.
Yeah.
Zachary, 1, 2, 3.
And I tell you, they set that up so beautifully. They flooded the left side with 3 receivers. Kelly on the right side by himself. He's in a one-on-one situation. Nichols takes the snap and looks to the left just to get that safety over, and then goes back and just throws a dart right to Kelly. And you don't draw it up any better than that.
Threw it on a dime, and with 9:51 remaining in the third quarter, it is all Warhawks on homecoming night.
And I was just going to say, the last 3rd and 10, we talked about, are they going to run it and get a few yards? They ended up, a real safe throw, almost an extended handoff. And then there on 3rd and 10, they go for the downs, and it works out.
Scott County has moved ahead in the third quarter. Thomas Fikert, touchdown run along the Scott County sideline. The sophomore puts him ahead.
Hard.
It was set up by an interception by Danny Armstrong. And Bryan Station answered with what looked like a touchdown. It was called back for holding. So with 8 minutes to play in the third quarter, Cardinals on top. That's a big one there. I do like the way Thomas Fikert runs the ball.
Yeah,
he's going to be a multi-sport star. He's going to be good in baseball as well. At the 14, Jessamine will get a good return here as Chance Jackson finds some room, but he is going to run out of it running laterally at the 27. So East Jess will start. They have not gotten on the board tonight. They were held to 3 rushing yards in the first half, minus total yardage until a drive against the prevent in the final minute.
And Cal, I tell you, just for a second, I really want to point out how impressed I am by Great Crossing special teams. And when you're in a very close game, that can be the difference. their punt returns, they do an excellent job with that. The kickoffs, they've done an excellent job of covering those. They almost just took one to the house on a kickoff return.
They find some room over the left side. Good little pancake there at the end of it as East Jess for the first time gets some solid rushing yardage out to the 35. Actually, they're going to mark him out at the 32. Wiley was there to make the stop. He might have paid the price for it.
That was the first time Jackson really was able to get loose, and he was able to lower that shoulder.
2nd and 5. East Jess hasn't been in a lot of second and short situations.
They haven't.
Thanks to Fisher, Frazier, Little, and others. Direct snap again. That's Williams. Nothing doing as 5 Warhawks just pile him there.
And I'm guessing they went over that at halftime because that was the only play that seemed to bother them in the least on the ground anyway for East Jessamine.
Fisher and Allen were there along with others. Jarius Patterson in the mix. 3rd and 4.
You got Perry up close to the line of scrimmage here. Look for him to
coming off the edge. That's almost unfair with Frazier and Fisher. There's the blitz from Allen. Allen smelled it. And they will stuff it for a loss of a yard. He might have gotten back to the line of scrimmage, but it isn't going to matter. It's going to be a 3 and out. Punt for East Jessamine, or at least punt formation, down 28 zip. Bird at his own 35, past midfield.
Look out.
To the house, 65 yards if there aren't any flags, and there are none. Touchdown, Drake Bird.
So impressed with him.
And now they can go for 2 and put this to a running clock if they want.
Well, we just talked about special teams, Cal.
That's why they call them special. I'm sure he got a block at around the 50, but he was gone after that.
Looks like they're going to try the extra point.
Yeah, well, extend the game a little bit. I mean, I don't think it matters.
It depends on the philosophy that you have. Some are.
Jim McKee certainly is one that wants to get it over with as quickly as possible. If you're still growing as a program, maybe just keep it in game situation a little while longer. 35 zip with 7:54 remaining here in the third quarter. Drake Bird 65-yard punt return. They have dominated in all phases, have the Great Crossing Warhawks.
They really have. It's been just a complete game all the way around. And not just offense, defense, special teams, but for each level. The defense has played the run well. They played the pass well. Offensively, they've run it enough. They haven't been great at running the ball today, but they've done it enough to where when they do pass the ball, they've got people open. And then special teams all the way around, whether it's covering or returning kicks, it's just been super.
They've had plenty of practice returning punts because their defense has forced many in 4 weeks.
Well, and I was just thinking that, the only kickoff return they had an opportunity at, they almost took it the distance. So
they came into the game with the second best scoring defense in 5A, 7.3 per game allowed, second only to Frederick Douglass. Douglass has Dunbar tonight, and that's the one thing Dunbar can do is put some points on the board. So they may be first when this is This evening's over. Flag comes in on the return from far, far away.
I think you're going to get a block in the back.
Going to have the BIB -10. Usually from there, it's either that or somebody with an egregious face mask. Yep, you were right on the first one. Mark it off against the Jaguars. It's been a tough night for East Jessamine. They're going to drop to 0-4 when this is all said and done. They've had better nights than this along the way as they have run into a buzzsaw. You know, in last week's, I was just going to say that the game at Henry Clay, I think that paid a lot of dividends. A big, physical, fast, athletic 6A team, regardless of what their record is, kind of slows the game down like this when you come into face an opponent against like East Jessamine.
And on the flip side, we talked about the conditioning aspect for East Jessamine, who wasn't able to practice.
Right.
You know, now it's really, you can see it starting to wear on them.
Heisel with time to throw for probably the only time all night. Throws a bomb and a dime caught on the other side of midfield by Taji Jackson coming out of the backfield, I would assume. As he's usually their option in the running game, but he will take it down to the Great Crossing 44. Nice throw.
It was. Well, it was one of the few times where he was able to get back there and set and, you know, look and throw the ball downfield. Yeah.
Playing his feet. That is not something that he has become accustomed to in this game. By far the longest play of the night for the Jags. 1st and 10 in Great Crossing territory. 7:26 to play, third quarter. Here on the Bird's Nest Broadcasting Network, Cal Oaks, Scotty Sutton. Heisel again to his own sideline. It will be complete. Short gain. Maybe a couple of yards to the 42. Chance Jackson, the favorite target, makes the grab. They'll mark it at the 41, 2nd and 7.
I was just noticing big defensive lineman Trey Combs down there. Looked like he was getting held, but boy, he was wrecking some havoc.
It takes two to stop Big Trey. Direct snap again to Williams. He will surge forward inside the 35, close to the marker.
Yeah, I think he's got it. That's been a good play for them today.
It's been the most consistent one. They'll mark it right at the 34 and move the chains. First down, East Jessamine. This is almost a complete reversal of the 2019 game. East Jessamine won 43-7 at home in the only previous meeting in the series. It's been all Great Crossing tonight. East Jessamine trying to get on the board. One thing the safety in week one prevented is there hasn't been a shutout yet for this Great Crossing defense. They've only given up 2 touchdowns on the season. Heisel running for his life again. Oh, he'll get positive yardage, but he will pay the price as Pilot Lacasco. And now there's some taunting and jarring, and the flag goes up, and we'll see if it'll be offsetting.
Yeah, he didn't get that shoulder lowered, and that cost him right there. But then a little jawing both ways. We'll see if, as you said, if it goes offsetting or.
You hope it is, because if it's not, if you're Great Crossing, you can't lose your composure like that. They will signal the first one against the Warhawks, and it will be the only one. So it will be on, I guess, for the reaction after the hit. And you've got to just train yourself to get up and get in the huddle and celebrate later.
Yeah,
regardless of my feelings, high school officials are going to call that, every time. You see it on TV, and sometimes you get away with it. But half the distance, essentially, is it will be 1st and 10 at the 15. So the second scoring threat of the evening, first one ended on an interception in the end zone as time ran out in the first half. Justin Heisel's shown a lot of courage back there tonight. He'll complete this one. They can't wrap him up with the first man, and then the second comes in to stop it. It'll be Drake Bird. they're going to mark him forward progress to the 7.5. Right at the 7. So an 8-yard gain, 2nd and 2.
And that's a good throw right there, especially after taking that hard hit. I mean, got to give the freshman some credit.
He's going to be a problem in a couple of years if he sticks with it. 5'10", you figure he will grow from being 14 or 15 years old.
Maybe look for the direct snap again right here.
Yeah, this is a place you would think with the fullback. Instead, they'll give the inside handoff. Nothing doing. Chance Jackson smothered. Chase Little, Brandon Smith, and a cast of about a half dozen pile on. Lacasco checks back into the game after the coaches say, nice play. Looks like Scott County might have scored again. And that would be huge. Haven't seen the tweet yet, but we're hearing rumors of a Jeremy Hamilton highlight catch to rival what we saw here from Zachary Kelly. Back to this game, 3rd and 3 at the Great Crossing 9 for East Jessamine. The other big play in that Scott County game would be the extra point because it could make it a 2-score game. Timeout for the Jags here with 3:44 left in the 3rd quarter.
Yeah, the play clock was about to run down, so they had to get a timeout there before they got a penalty. And this is a big play. I mean, even though it is 28-0 or 35-0, you want to let's get the ball in the end zone. Now you're playing for improvement. Just like we talked about in that first week. We had a couple of blowouts, but you wanted, to get better each quarter. And so East Jessamine just wants to get better right here.
And if you're Great Crossing, you really want to keep that 0
Absolutely.
up there. I think that's the one missing piece so far this season. And
that's what their coaches are screaming.
Some of the circumstances were taken from them as a defense. So you're like, as a defensive coordinator, come on, guys. The pride of the goose egg, the donut, whatever you want to call it. Coach Vanderpool saying now's the time to stand up and be counted. The bass is cranked up on the music here. 21-12, Scott County, 1:23 remaining in the 3rd. So Jeremy Hamilton has scored in every conceivable fashion this year, and he scores a big touchdown for the Cardinals to put them up 2 scores. A lot of people talking a lot of smack before that game, so it's good to see. Heisel gets the first down, keep it himself. He's not afraid of running right into the line of fire.
I've been impressed with him, and to take as many licks as he did early on, and still stand in there, and he's made a couple of nice throws this half, and then there he is. He's run the ball twice, and even when he gets hit hard, he pops right back up, and that's tough to do for anybody, especially a freshman.
He's just threatening at the 3. He'll keep it himself again, Will Heisel. Forward progress gets him to the 1, where it will be 2nd and goal. 3 minutes even to play in the 3rd quarter. And now Warhawks hope for the goal line stand, but they'll have 3 more cracks at the end zone, will the Jaguars. Good drive down 35-0. You got to. It was helped along by a personal foul, but they've done most of the work themselves. Come by it honestly.
And you can see a couple of things here. I think you can see the quarterback just going, or you could see that direct snap that we've seen several times. But I think you're just going to see the quarterback here.
He might as well. He's earned it on this drive. He just cannot get the forward momentum as they will stack him up. Fisher was there. I'm sure Combs and Little were there, as they usually are. Perry, Frazier, et cetera, et cetera. 3rd and goal.
And I tell you, Cal, if they stop them here, this crowd's going to get real loud trying to
They're going to go
get this
nuts.
shutout. Yeah. So we'll see what happens.
Warhawk defense up against the wall for the first time. That last yard's the toughest one to get. I'd give it to the fullback, but I'm not the coach. They will run a sweep. I'm not sure I would have done that, but he gets the corner. Chance Jackson is in the end zone.
Well, they're going to kick themselves because they missed the tackle there for a 5-yard loss, but that was an outstanding run. That'd be Jackson's 3rd touchdown of the season.
Yeah, he's been a force in all aspects, running, receiving.
Yeah. He's a good-looking athlete.
Done a nice job for him, and he scores only the 3rd touchdown against this Great Crossing defense all season.
Showed a little trickery there, but now they're just going to get into their normal PAT attempt.
Kick is up, and it is no good. So it'll stay 35-6 with 1:22 remaining, 3rd quarter.
Your score, Great Crossing 35, East Jessamine 6.
Well, the defense has to be disappointed, but they played well all game. They played well all year.
Yeah, I mean, East Jessamine did some nice things. They found a couple of things they can exploit, and a penalty helped, but honestly, they earned it. They drove the field, and sometimes you just tip your hat to the other team and come back and play offense, as they have done 5 out of 6 drives tonight.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was going to say. Sometimes the other team just makes plays.
You remember the defense a little bit gassed. They had to play the entire 3rd quarter because Drake Bird returning the punt.
Right.
So other than that early
they laid some licks, but Heisel just kept it going, and so kudos to that kid.
Kicking out for the Jaguars, number 11, Cameron Shipart. I think we received the Warhawks, number 8, Caleb Perry, number 18, Jacob Coulter.
Short kick taken by Bird. Can he do it again? On the other side of midfield, taken down at the East Jess 47.
Bird's just a great return, man.
Bird's got some serious all-purpose yardage going tonight.
He really does. He's got good hands, whether it's punt, kickoff.
And he had that one little blip with the punt that he let.
The very first one.
And he hasn't done it since. In the past 3 weeks, he kind of took it upon himself, so that's not going to happen again, and it hasn't. Nichols to throw all night. He's got Coulter down there behind the secondary. Bingo, touchdown. He's thrown 4 tonight. Make it 5, rather, as Coulter has 2 and Kelly has 3, and I've lost track. Nichols is having himself. He's got one for the thumb now. My goodness. What a night for the junior. But that one was money.
And I don't know how you could.
You can't throw it any better.
Yeah, we were talking about Kelly earlier, but, man, when you've thrown this many TDs.
Yeah, no, that's a night. Have yourself a night, son.
It really is.
And now the extra point will make it a running clock. And it is good. So with 1:10 to go in the 3rd quarter, we will have running time for the duration.
And I really like what Great Crossings did there. You give up a disappointing touchdown, nice kickoff return, and then just come back, play action, and just go for the downs. And that's what you got to do. You got to come right back. And if the score had been right there, 14-10,
yeah,
then that's what you got to do is you got to answer. So I like that in the fact that it's like, okay, let's learn from this. Yeah, we're disappointed that we didn't get the shutout, but we're going to come right back and score. And I'm telling you, they list. I'm trying to think of what they list Nichols at. I mean, they list him at 6 foot, but he is just throwing dimes all over the field.
5 touchdown passes. He has been super accurate.
He, and you talked about him not getting to play last year. This is a kid that I think is going to start getting some looks.
You got to remember his head coach was a pretty good quarterback, one of the most prolific quarterbacks yardage-wise in Kentucky history, Ricky Bowling. And so you're learning from one of the best, and he has taken it all to heart and just gotten better every week.
Yeah.
Good coverage there on the kickoff to knock down East Jessamine at the 31. In the final seconds of the third quarter may run out before they even run a play. They're not in any hurry.
Tackles made by number 36,
Elijah Fryman making another stop on special teams. So he is making his mark in that column. Jackson, sweep left. They will get a playoff before the horn, and he will get pushed out of bounds at the 36 at the end of 3. All Warhawks, 42-6 over the East Jessamine Jaguars.
Last couple of runs, Jackson has really hit the hole hard.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's get our focus on the center of the field. No, that is not Louisville. That is not UK. That is one of the baddest dance team in the land. Your very own Red Closet Warhawk dance team. Hey, ladies, I'm going to give you a 30-second sound check. 30 seconds, okay? Don't move. All right, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, on your feet. It makes some noise for the baddest dance team in the land. Your Red Closet Warhawk dance team.
The dance team entertaining us here with 12 minutes to play. The fans, the dance team, the band, the cheerleaders all happy with the results tonight. Now Bryant Station cuts into the Scott County lead. It is 21-18 just at the start of the fourth quarter.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it is now time for the fourth and final quarter. Take it away, Mr. Steve.
They keep things hopping here. I love the atmosphere for the home games at Great Crossing. They really do a great job.
They've done a good job cultivating that culture.
They really have.
Which you need.
Excellent job there by Fisher.
Good effort by O. Has been all over the place.
Not a sack, but he kept hustling and really again both sides. Heisel just battling his tail
prevents
off.
The first down.
Yeah. And I'd look for him to run a sweep right here to Jackson. He's really been hitting it hard. But they're putting him out in the slot, so that surprises me.
3rd and 2, direct snap to Williams. He gets stopped, maybe. And the ref on that sideline gave him a pretty good spot.
Yeah, I didn't think he got there.
No, I think maybe he was just the edge of the ball over the 40. Instead, they're going to mark it almost at the 41. And they're going to call it a first down. That's interesting. Well, the clock's running, so.
That's what I was thinking.
It's all academic. It's all over but the crying. It's all over but the homecoming dance, I guess. Do we have a homecoming dance? Probably not in COVID times.
Maybe a bonfire outside.
Maybe some sort of shenanigans. It's also Festival of the Horse weekend here in Georgetown, so it's a party atmosphere.
I have seen. Well, I shouldn't say that. I try to stay away from that traffic.
You can go. I found out the hard way yesterday. I found out Main Street was blocked off. Heisel running for his life. There's a flag down.
Yeah, East Jessamine had 2 players in motion at the same time, so they're gonna. And I don't think they were gonna call it. The Great Crossing bench was going crazy, so it's an illegal shift.
Perry in on that tackle. You know I think the greatest evidence of the progress of this program is how little we say Caleb Perry's name this year. Sometimes it's just tonight it's been Coulter and Kelly on offense, and a lot of times that front 7 on the defensive side for Great Crossing gets it done, and he doesn't really have to run himself ragged as he did the first 2 years.
That's right. Warhawks declined the penalty.
Yeah, they got a nice result. It was a tackle for loss. Lacasco was there as well. 2nd and 11 is what it will be. As this game has 9 minutes and 9 seconds to play, probably close to real time, as it is a 36-point margin, 42-6. Nice, well-designed play, but it's almost picked off as it's off the fingers of Jackson. Jarvey Ray caught it on a hop. It'll be incomplete, 3rd and 11. Jackson and Williams and Heisel have certainly earned their post-game meal tonight for East Jess. They have been no shortage of effort from those 3 gentlemen. And really, this team has hung in there.
Yeah.
They had every reason to kind of mail in the second half. Big game for Scott County on 3rd and 8 to extend a drive as they are trying to reestablish that 2-score lead. Here's a sack for Great Crossing. Combs.
Yeah, we just talked
and
about
Fisher.
Trey Combs, good for him.
Let the big man
hard.
eat.
Yeah. He had been so close on several occasions. Knifed in there and got a hold of him, but he wasn't going to let go. Now a big 4th down. Students are into it. And East Jessamine going to go, with the running clock, they're going to give it a shot, see what happens here. Ooh.
And it is incomplete, and Warhawks will take over.
Caden Allen almost had a big 6.
Caden had all kinds of green in front of him.
He was high-stepping it before he caught it.
Jaguars 34-yard line. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been asked to tell you that there has been a cell phone found. It has been turned into the concession stand. You must get them some type of an identification if you've lost this phone or some type of, so they know it's your phone.
Got some fresh faces in the game here. Here's number 22. We're on the ball for Great Crossing. That's Zach Morris. Saw a little bit of him in week 1 against Western Hills.
Excellent tackle there by Andre Johnson, a senior. came up in the hole. Good form tackle.
Now you're going to get some seniors playing against some younger kids. This might be a flashback to first couple of years for Great Crossing. They don't mind because it's 42-6 in their favor. Morris again taken down as the clock ticks. Big play in the Scott County Bryan Station game. 4th and 1 at the defenders' 21. I'm going to guess about 5 or 6 minutes left. Cards nursing a 21-18 lead. As they send out the call for kids to call their parents for rides, as that 5:40 is going to pass quickly. As this is a running clock situation. Dylan Lay going to get a carry.
Good tackle.
Spin to the 36. So it'll be 4th down. 6:34 left in that game at Bryan Station. So Scott County can get a first down, churn out some more time and score. That would just about stick a fork in it.
Once again, boys and girls, please call a Uber with your grandparents and cousins and simply get well. Tell them I need you on your way to the game. Right now.
Throw is high and incomplete, and that will turn it back over to the Jags with 4:52 and running.
And that's where there's the young receiver and Nichols not on the same page. Taylor. Well, I say young. Because he's not been in the game, but
After the game, we're going to try to give you some unofficial stats. Some unofficial stats. If you want to hang around after the game, we'll try to read you some unofficial stats.
he's with the clock running. Jessamine is huddled up on the sideline. I'm thinking.
Well, now the play clock's down under 10.
Yeah, I wonder.
I think we've probably got some younger kids in the game, which we do.
Look for them to call time.
Yeah, they're going to have to burn one or take the 5 yards. Or if
But
the
it doesn't look
officials,
like
the
they're gonna
officials
blow
aren't
it,
even paying
yeah.
attention. They're going to give them the benefit of the doubt here, I guess. And coming in is Caden Allen. Might be time to get him out of there.
I was just thinking the same thing. Don't get him hurt.
Number 29, Thurman. Also 3 on the play.
I think Great Crossings has 12. Yeah, they do. They had 12 people on the field, and they were sprinting off.
And the sweep goes nowhere. It'll lose another yard. Final 3 minutes of this one. Our Steve Skierman Kentucky Farm Bureau Insurance Player of the Game is Mr. Gabe Nichols with a school record 5 touchdown passes. That one might stand for a while unless he breaks it himself.
Yeah, just a super game by Gabe. He threw the ball well, threw it on time, on target. Seems so poised back there for a young man that really is in his first year of starting at the varsity level.
Another school record will be the 4th consecutive win for the Warhawks as they improve to 4-0. They'll go to Bourbon County next week and then have a week off to get ready for the other birds from around the block.
That'll be a good one.
Be here or please tune in because we can't wait. 2 minutes to go. And what will be, barring anything weird here, a 42-6 win for the Great Crossing Warhawks. I think their most impressive win to date in all phases. I think this is a better opponent than the record indicates. They played hard. They had some good schemes, and GC handled it well. Another turnover on downs. That's been the theme of this fourth quarter. Hawks will have to run probably one more play, and then we will call it good. We will do the quick getaway. Don't have a lot to say about a 42-6 win, except congratulations to the Warhawks. Happy homecoming. And we'll remind you that next week we'll be here with Scott County football as they take on the Paul Lawrence Dunbar Bulldogs of 6A, semifinalist in 6A a year ago. Warhawks get a first down there as Morris runs for it. A signal for good measure. They might run one more play and see if the young kids can punch one in. Nichols is still in there at quarterback. I know with all my heart he won't be throwing for a 6th touchdown, but now he'll take a knee.
Oh,
I would have taken it quicker than that, not risk getting hit or hurt. And the final second should tick away. I don't know why there's players hurrying onto the field because they're not going to run a play. Your final score for the final time from Bird's Nest Stadium on homecoming. The 4-0 Great Crossing Warhawks 42, the East Jessamine Jaguars 6. For Brett, for James, for Mike, for DT, for Austin, for the whole gang, for Scotty, I'm merely Cal. Good night. God bless. Enjoy the rest of this football weekend. Enjoy the beautiful fall weather. Thank you for joining us. See you next week.
Great job, buddy. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'll see you next Friday.